Hi friends, welcome back to the Saturn box. I'm Yamini Sharma, and today in this video I'm going to be talking about the direct motion of Saturn within the sign of Capricorn. So we all know that from the 29th of September Saturn becomes direct in the sign of Capricorn in the nakshatra of Uttarashadha. So this is what I'm going to be talking about, and of course the effects on all the 12 ascendants, the rising signs. So before I go ahead, do not forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, and if you like the content, also do drop in a thumbs up. So when we talk about Saturn's movement here, Saturn's direct motion in the sign of Capricorn, a few things before I go ahead. See, Saturn has been in retrograde motion since the month of May. So it came into the sign of Capricorn in the month of January. From January to till now, till the month of September, it's been in retrograde motion for almost half the time, more than half the time. And now it becomes direct within the nakshatra of Uttarashadha, which is Sun's nakshatra, a very balanced nakshatra. And Uttarashadha also signifies a final victory or a final, conclusion to things. Victory in either sense, and that's the reason it talks about balance also. So Saturn is here till January 2021, so we have about 4 months till Saturn stays in this nakshatra and then moves on to the nakshatra of Shravan. So there the results of Saturn's stay in the sign of Capricorn are going to alter. But in this video, we'll understand what happens when Saturn is in Uttarashadha till the month of January. And of course, the background is the promise of your natal chart, the dashas which you're undergoing, and thereafter come the transits. So if something is promised in your natal chart, if something your dasha already indicates, that is when you actually get the full-fledged 100% results of any transit. So always keep that in mind, and do remember to see the video or refer to the right sign when I'm talking about in this video. I'm referring to the ascendants or the rising sign, and most of you are aware of your ascendant. Those who are interested in astrology definitely know about their chart. They know it very well, and those of you who don't know about their ascendant or moon sign, or there's some confusion out there, I have dropped in a link to my video which explains this difference in the description box, so you can go check out that video. You can share it also with as many people as you want to get a better understanding of what is your ascendant or rising sign, or what is your moon sign, and of course the sun sign. So it's necessary to understand this difference, to understand all the Vedic astrology stuff, or the tutorials, or the videos in a better fashion, right? So with that thought, let's go ahead into the video. Saturn, is the planet of justice. Saturn is the planet of discipline, of karma, and here in this transit, Saturn is within its own sign of Capricorn. And Capricorn also, by the national horoscope, it's also the 10th house, the sign which is in the 10th house, and it represents work, it represents organization, about how you go about things in a structured manner. It's a house of growth also. So ultimately, you see, growth happens when you go about things in a very disciplined or an organized manner, and that is what Saturn talks about in the sign of Capricorn. So here, if you understand, the qualities of Saturn and Capricorn kind of talk to each other, so there's a heavy impact. And from here, Saturn is going to be aspecting the sign of Pisces. Third from itself, Saturn has 3 aspects. So the first is the third aspect. So wherever Saturn is posited in your birth chart, from there you count 3 places. You'll find the sign of Pisces there, and of course whichever planet is sitting there in that sign, you have to see that. So the third aspect comes to the sign of Pisces. The seventh aspect goes to the sign of Cancer, and the 10th aspect of Saturn goes to the sign of Libra. Libra is also the sign of exaltation for Saturn, remember that, right? So if you see this aspect of Saturn, it is sitting in its own house, and it is aspecting two houses, two signs, which are actually water signs, and there of course then it is aspecting its own exaltation sign. A very very powerful stay for Saturn, a very very powerful impactful stay here. So this entire time period is going to bring about a lot of changes. It's going to bring about restoration of things, of the natural order, especially with Jupiter also being direct now in its own sign of Sagittarius. And by the 20th of November, Jupiter and Saturn both get together in the sign of Capricorn. So there is going to be a restoration of everything around, the way things are to be. So Saturn is now going to deal with a tough hand. Saturn is iron, remember. So Saturn is that old judge, and you can imagine an old judge with very set ideas of morals and what should be and what should not be. And here specifically now with this transit, with this stay here in Saturn, in the sign of Capricorn, Saturn aspects Libra. So justice is going to prevail, balance is going to prevail, is what the theme is all about. And more so in the nakshatra of Uttarashadha, it's again a nakshatra of balance, right? So we'll understand the impact of this direct motion of Saturn sign wise. I'll begin with the sign of Aries. So if you've got Aries ascendant, Aries rising sign, this is what I'm talking about. See, if we see Aries, Saturn becomes direct in your 10th house, and aspects the 12th house, aspects the 4th house, as well as the 7th house. So what does this do? One, career wise, I think it's a great time. A lot of things which were not clear or you were confused about get sorted out. So you understand what is meant to be, in which direction is your career going, and you can take steps accordingly. You can focus on your career. This is also a great time for any rise or change in status. So positive change is what I'm talking about. Status of your status, in your career, in your work field, that is what I'm referring to over here. Saturn also aspects the 3rd, the 7th and 10th. So there is going to be a requirement of balancing work and career, balancing home and workspace. You would feel that yes, there's a kind of pull towards home, and your career also requires as much time and attention. And sometimes this juggling could actually produce a lot of hard work for you. So you make in a lot of effort, take a lot of initiative to handle things. Also a good time to keep a tab on your expenses. So how you expend your resources, how you go about spending your time, your effort, resources. When I talk about resources, it means everything, is what you have to keep in mind. This is also a time period for those of you who aren't married yet. You could come across a good match. And those who are married, this could also bring in some practical changes in your marriage. So if you were expecting too much from your partner, or either way, vice versa, things get balanced out. So you both get a more pragmatic approach towards handling your things, towards handling your relationship. Then moving on to the next sign of Taurus. See, for Taurus, Saturn becomes direct in your 9th house, and from here it aspects your 11th house, third house, as well as the sixth house. So here, when we talk about this movement of Saturn, you are required to stay on the path of righteousness. So whatever you do, make sure that you stay on the right ethics, right morals. And Saturn is going to test you over here. Saturn is sitting in the house of your luck, of your guru's blessings. So luck helps you if you're on the right path. So there is going to be struggle, no doubt, but ultimately Saturn is that grand old judge who looks after your interest. So your gains could get a little delayed, but they will not be denied. That is what Saturn tells you. This could also bring in chances of journeys. So short journeys related to your work, related to your daily routine. You could now start traveling. There could be travel opportunities for you. Some issues which were pending for long, some legal issues or some conflict matters could now get resolved. So you come into chances where some kind of traction happens and you're able to resolve long pending issues as well. Now we move on to the next sign of Gemini. See, for Gemini, Saturn becomes direct in your 8th house. And from here it aspects the 10th house, the 2nd, as well as the 5th house. So this is a time where a lot of your inheritance issues, wealth issues, wealth related to inheritance could come into picture. So if there was something which was due to you, which was pending for long, now things could start moving. So addition of wealth, sorting out of inheritance problems, some insurance which was long due, or if you are a beneficiary in somebody's insurance, so you know what I'm talking about. So these themes could play up now. This transit also shows some kind of a change in your career or a break in your career. So I'm not saying that this is going to be a very negative thing. This could be a break, wherein maybe you are between jobs, or you change your line of career. So there is some major shift which happens. So good or bad, that depends of course on your natal chart. Then you also concentrate on building up your skill sets. What is it that is finally going to make do for you? What is it that you're finally going to be using? So your creative skills, your skills of expression, writing, communication, all these things could also be coming into focus, and you could work on them. Then the next sign of Cancer. So for Cancer, you see Saturn comes in the Kendra, in the 7th house. It's making a Shashi Yoga also. And Saturn here could impact your personality as such. Saturn aspects the Lagna, Saturn aspects the 9th house, and of course the 4th house. So matters related to you, your domestic matters could come into the picture. So you could get a little more serious about what is happening at home. Is there some intervention from your side which is required at home, some family issues? Your mother could demand your attention. So such themes could play up. Also you could make efforts towards higher education. Saturn is aspecting the 9th house also, and this could bring about changes. There could be chances of travel, going outside to study as things are opening up. So also this requires this whole time period requires focus on your marriage. So things could become a little cold in your marriage with your partner, or I would say that you might feel that things are becoming a little cold, but actually things are in a way settling down. You're getting down to brass tacks, you're getting down to practical issues. So all that rosy lens which you might have been wearing get off, and you understand that these are the ground realities which you have to deal with. This is how domestic affairs are dealt with. This is how expenses are met with. So the ground realities kick in, and there could be some tussle between you and your partner. Emotional issues could come up which require a pragmatic approach. Then we move on to the next sign of Leo. See, for Leo, Saturn becomes direct in the 6th house. Saturn is always good in the 6th house though. And from here it aspects the 8th house, the 12th house, as well as the 3rd house. So a lot of effort towards serving others could be there. You meet people who need your help, or you feel like helping people. You make efforts, you make journeys, you travel around for such things. These things could happen. Also, this is a time where you should take care of your health. A very important point for you, for Leo ascendant. So take care of your health, and also take care of your relationship with your subordinates, people who work under you. There could be subordinates at work, there could be subordinates, or people working for you in whichever capacity, somebody lower in status than you. So make sure that you deal with people properly, humbly, and others do not get offended by how you're going to be dealing with them. So things to keep in mind. Difficult situations could crop up which you could manage by way of communication, by way of peaceful, calm talks. Then we move on to the next sign of Virgo. So for Virgo, Saturn becomes direct in the 5th house, and from here it aspects the 7th house, the 11th, as well as the 2nd house. So you see, Saturn is aspecting your 2nd and 11th house both. Money issues, gains, monetary gains could come into picture. So something which was long pending, or there were issues related to money which you wanted to get resolved, could get resolved here. So this is something which you can work on, while Saturn is here direct, also in motion. So there could be more efforts required in your business. If you're in a partnership business, also Saturn is aspecting the 7th house. So there could be a lot of efforts, but there will be gains as well. So this is a good transit, I would say, especially for the Virgo Lagna. You could also make an efforts to make things nice and smooth in your marriage, right? So you learn to communicate in a better way with your partner and be more patient. That is very important. And lastly, those of you who are looking at chances of conception, trying to plan a family, this could be a time when some positive news could come, or you could get some positive results. So make use of this time. Also, those of you who have children could demand a lot of attention. You could be doing a lot of hard work towards them, towards their upbringing, studies. They'll demand a lot of your time also. Then moving on to the next ascendant, that is Libra. For Libra, Saturn becomes direct in your 4th house. Remember that Saturn is also Yoga Karak for you. And from the 4th, it aspects the 3rd, the 6th, the 10th, as well as the Lagna. So what does Saturn do here? It tells you that you've got to work on yourself, realign with destiny. See, the 6th house is also coming into picture. Lot of struggles could be on the way. You could be going through a phase of struggle also. So these struggles, these issues which you're dealing with could actually make you realign with how destiny is going to take you forward. So important life lessons come your way. You also understand the need for balancing your domestic front and the work front. So a very important transit for the sign of Libra. Very important transit to actually make changes about yourself. And I would suggest that this is a time for major impact at workplace also. So you might feel that something major is happening at workplace. You know, you want to make a lot of changes, but sometimes Saturn could restrict you, would hold you back. So does the workplace require changes, or do you need to realign yourself, is something which you'll always be thinking about. So a major shift for you, and especially anyone, any Libra Lagna who is undergoing a Saturn Mahadasha, or Sarasati if you have a Capricorn moon. All these things could actually come into the foray, come for you to deal with. Then we move on to the next sign of Scorpio. So for Scorpio, Saturn becomes direct in your third house, and from there it aspects the fifth house of expression, creativity, intelligence, and the ninth house, of course the 12th house as well. So from here, Saturn from the third makes you do a lot of efforts, take up a lot of initiatives towards what you're going to do. Those of you who are in creative fields could actually see that yes, you're able to put in a lot of hard work towards expressing yourself creatively. So this is a time period for long-term journeys also. It could be a time frame where you travel towards pilgrimages, or meet a guru, pay attention to your father. The emotional connect with your father could play up. Father could become demanding of your attention. And of course, expenses are there. There are going to be expenses. You need to be very judicious by the way, in your way of spending money, of your resources also. So a lot of travel on the cards, foreign connections on the cards is what I see for you. Then moving on to the sign of Sagittarius. So for Sagittarius, Saturn is the second lord and the third lord. In the second house, it becomes direct. So in the house of wealth, accumulation, your resources, Saturn becomes direct and aspects the fourth house, the eighth house, as well as the 11th house. So you see, inheritance matters could come up. Gain from inheritance, gain of money. So this entire motion of Saturn, the position of Saturn, could make you pay attention on your money, on your investments. From where are you going to get income? What are your sources of wealth? So these things come into your mind, and you learn to deal with them also. Be judicious about the use of your money, use of your resources. There could also be a lot of chances that you deal with your family members in a very pragmatic or practical manner, but it comes across as very cold or cut to business kind of an approach. So you need to be careful there, use proper words, be wise in your communication. Saturn is sitting in the second, so you need to be careful about your eating habits, about how you are spending your money, daily money. Be careful about your possessions also. Right, then we move on to the next sign of Capricorn. See, for Capricorn, Saturn is your Lagnesh, your ascendant lord, and it is direct in the ascendant itself. Lot of things get sorted out. you become more confident, you become more sure-footed about what decisions you want to take. How do you want to go about your future plans? How do you want to go about your career plans? Saturn from here aspects the third house, the seventh, and the 10th house. So, those of you who are doing business, lot of opportunities could come up. You could take a lot of initiative and work towards your area of business. uh, Put in a lot of hard work over there, make use of new opportunities also. So and regarding your marriage life with your partner, now this could be a little challenging time phase, because your work will require a lot of your attention. Journeys will take away your time. There will be a lot of effort which you make towards work. So balancing time with your spouse, with your married partner, could be a challenge which you'll need to look at, which you'll need to manage. Of course, this is also a time period where new ideas will come up, so you'll become a little restless also. You want to do a lot, but sometimes you're not able to balance things out. So take care of the balance. That is the key. Then moving on to the next sign of Aquarius. See, for Aquarius, Saturn is direct in the 12th house, and from here it looks at another Trik Bhava, that is the 6th house. It also casts the third aspect onto the 2nd house, house of wealth, and the 10th aspects goes to the 9th house. So this will be a time where you put in a lot of hard work. Your daily life brings in a little struggle, brings in a lot of activity, I would say, not exactly struggle, not exactly in a negative sense. So a lot of activity here. Time to pay off your debts, time to pay off anything which is due to others. So I think it's a wonderful time to get into any selfless service, doing things for others without any idea of gain from them, without anything which you stand to gain from them. So do that, spend time or your resources or money, whichever way, to help people around. And time to keep a check on your resources, on your wealth. So you would plan on investments, plan on your wealth in a better manner. And of course, there could also be chances of journey. So a pilgrimage could come up, a trip to meet a guru, a trip for higher education, some foreign connections could play around. So these things are also on the cards for you. Then we move on to the next sign, or the last sign of Pisces. So for Pisces, you see, I think this is a positive transit. Saturn is in the 11th house of gains and becoming direct, right? So from here it aspects the ascendant, the 5th house, as well as the 10th, as well as the 8th house. So from here, from the 11th house, when Saturn aspects the Lagna, it makes you be very practical about your expectations and stand to gain from things which are practical. So this is a time for gains, but anything which is expected, something out of the blue is not going to come out here. Something which you were expecting, which was practical, which was just and fair, yes, you can expect results. This time period could also make you focus a lot on your children, on their education, also on your own creativity, your own new ideas. So you could put in new ideas to your advantage. And there could be money issues. So partners' money, you could be helped by your partner or your in-laws family, or some inheritance issues come up which actually you stand to gain. So a wonderful time actually, for Pisces ascendant. I would say that this time period is quite positive with Saturn being in direct motion. Right, so that was all about the 12 ascendants, and I'll meet you soon in another video. Thank you so much. Bye bye.